Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Reduce your daily fat intake. Take off weight. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. The sauce should reduce to 1 cup. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Be the essential element. Put down by force or intimidation. Make smaller. Reduce an image. To remove oxygen from a compound, or cause to react with hydrogen or form a hydride, or to undergo an increase in the number of electrons. Narrow or limit. Reduce the influx of foreigners. Cook until very little liquid is left. The cook reduced the sauce by boiling it for a long time. Reduce in size. Reduce physically. Bring to humbler or weaker state or condition. He reduced the population to slavery. De-stress and thus weaken a sound when pronouncing it. Lessen and make more modest. Reduce one's standard of living. Lower in grade or rank or force somebody into an undignified situation. She reduced her niece to a servant. Make less complex. Reduce a problem to a single question. Reposition. A broken bone after surgery, back to its normal site. Simplify the form of a mathematical equation of expression by substituting one term for another. Undergo meiosis. The cells reduce. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Move something or somebody to a lower position. Impose something unpleasant. Cause the downfall of rulers. Cause to come to the ground. Cause to be enthusiastic. The omission that is made when an editorial change shortens a written passage. Weed out unwanted or unnecessary things. We had to lose weight, so we cut the sugar from our diet. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. His cut in the lining revealed the hidden jewels. Made neat and tidy by trimming. In baseball, a batter's attempt to hit a pitched ball. He took a vicious cut at the ball. Used of rates or prices, reduced usually sharply. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Cut bourbon. Cut and assemble the components of. Cut recording tape. Used of grass or vegetation, cut down with a hand implement or machine. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The act of cutting something into parts. His cuts were skillful. Refuse to acknowledge. She cut him dead at the meeting. Turn sharply. Change direction abruptly. The car cut to the left at the intersection. Be able to manage or manage successfully. She could not cut the long days in the office. Mixed with water. Sold cut whiskey. A refusal to recognize someone you know. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. The barber gave him a good cut. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Cuts do not bother a good tennis player. Style and tailor in a certain fashion. Cut a dress. With parts removed. The drastically cut film. A wound made by cutting. He put a bandage over the cut. Create by duplicating data. Cut a disk. Cease, stop. Cut the noise. Cut off the testicles of male animals such as horses. A piece of meat that has been cut from an animal carcass. Make out an issue. Cut a ticket. A trench resembling a furrow that was made by erosion or excavation. A remark capable of wounding mentally. The unkindest cut of all. Intentionally fail to attend. Cut class. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. He played the first cut on the CD. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. He insisted that we give him the last cut before every deal. Of a male animal, having the testicles removed. A cut horse. Cuss to stop operating by disengaging a switch. Cut the engine. A canal made by erosion or excavation. Allow incision or separation. This bread cuts easily. An unexcused absence from class. He was punished for taking too many cuts in his math class. A share of the profits. Everyone got a cut of the earnings. A step on some scale. He is a cut above the rest. Discharge from a group. The coach cut 2 players from the team. Dissolve by breaking down the fat of. Soap cuts grease. Divide a deck of cards at random into 2 parts to make selection difficult. Wayne cut. Fashioned or shaped by cutting. A well-cut suit. Fell by sawing, hew. The Vietnamese cut a lot of timber while they occupied Cambodia. Film. An immediate transition from one shot to the next. The cut from the accident scene to the hospital seemed too abrupt. Form by probing, penetrating, or digging. Cut a hole. Form or shape by cutting or incising. Cut paper dolls. Function as a cutting instrument. This knife cuts well. Give the appearance or impression of. Cut a nice figure. Grow through the gums. The new tooth is cutting. Have a reducing effect. This cuts into my earnings. Have growth through the gums. The baby cut a tooth. Hit a ball with a spin so that it turns in the opposite direction. Cut a ping pong ball. Make an abrupt change of image or sound. Cut from one scene to another. Make an incision or separation. Cut along the dotted line. Make a recording of. Cut the songs. Move one's fist. His opponent cut upward toward his chin. Pass directly and often in haste. We cut through the neighbor's yard to get home sooner. Pass through or across. The boat cut the water. Penetrate injuriously. The glass from the shattered windshield cut into her forehead. Perform or carry out. Cut a caper. Reap or harvest. Cut grain. Record a performance on a medium. Cut a record. Separated into parts or laid open or penetrated with a sharp edge or instrument. The cut surface was modeled. Separate with or as if with an instrument. Shorten as if by severing the edges or ends of. Cut my hair. Stop filming. Cut a movie scene. The act of reducing the amount or number. The mayor proposed extensive cuts in the city budget. The style in which a garment is cut. A dress of traditional cut. Of pages of a book, having the folds of the leaves trimmed or slit. The cut pages of the book. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. Cultivate, tend, and cut back the growth of. Place restrictions on. Return in time. The film cut back to an earlier event in the story. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Intercept, a player. Cut with sweeping strokes, as with an axe or machete. Cause to come or go down. Cause to fall by or as if by delivering a blow. Cut with a blade or mower. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Cultivate, tend, and cut back the growth of. Thin and fit. A body kept trim by exercise. Cutting down to the desired size or shape. Neat and smart in appearance. A trim beard. Decorate, food, as with parsley or other ornamental foods. Remove the edges from and cut down to the desired size. Trim the photograph. Of places, characterized by order and neatness, free from disorder. A trim little sailboat. Severely simple in line or design. A decoration or adornment on a garment. The trimming on a hat. A state of arrangement or appearance. In good trim. Cut closely. Trim my beard. Adjust, sails on a ship, so that the wind is optimally used. Attitude of an aircraft in flight when allowed to take its own orientation. Balance in flight by regulating the control surfaces. Trim an airplane. Be in equilibrium during a flight. The airplane trimmed. Decorate, as with ornaments. Trim the Christmas tree. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Take off weight. Take off weight. Make slender or appear to be slender. Take off weight. Being of delicate or slender build. A slim girl with straight blonde hair. Small in quantity. A slim chance of winning. Take off weight. Lacking excess flesh. You can't be too rich or too thin. Not dense. A thin beard. Take off weight. Lacking substance or significance. A thin plot. Without viscosity. The blood was flowing thin. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Very narrow. A thin line across the page. Lacking spirit or sincere effort. A thin smile. Lose thickness. Become thin or thinner. Make thin or thinner. Of relatively small extent from one surface to the opposite or in cross-section. Thin wire. Of sound, lacking resonance or volume. A thin feeble cry. Relatively thin in consistency or low in density, not viscous. Air is thin at high altitudes. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Be the essential element. Cook until very little liquid is left. Make more concise. Direct one's attention on something. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Make central. Compress or concentrate. Cook until very little liquid is left. The desired mineral that is left after impurities have been removed from mind or. A concentrated example of something. The concentrate of contemporary despair. A concentrated form of a foodstuff. The bulk is reduced by removing water. Draw together or meet in one common center. These groups concentrate in the inner cities. Make denser, stronger, or purer. Concentrate juice. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Extract the essence of something by boiling it. Steep in hot water. Corrupt, debase, or make impure by adding a foreign or inferior substance, often by replacing valuable ingredients with inferior ones. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Reduced in strength or concentration or quality or purity. Diluted alcohol. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Become sparser. Make sparse. Thin out the young plants. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Shorten. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Lessen, diminish, or curtail. The new law might abridge our freedom of expression. Become smaller or draw together. Enter into a contractual arrangement. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Contract bridge. The highest bid becomes the contract setting the number of tricks that the bidder must make. Make or become more narrow or restricted. A variety of bridge in which the bidder receives points toward game only for the number of tricks he bid. Compress or concentrate. Engage by written agreement. Squeeze or press together. The spasm contracted the muscle. Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. A binding agreement between two or more persons that is enforceable by law. Make smaller. The heat contracted the woolen garment. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Shorten lines in a drawing so as to create an illusion of depth. Edit by omitting or modifying parts considered indelicate. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The manuscript must be shortened. Become short or shorter. In winter, the days shorten. Make shorter than originally intended. Reduce or retrench in length or duration. He shortened his trip due to illness. Make short or shorter. Shorten the skirt. Move downward and lower, but not necessarily all the way. Fall from clouds. Be the essential element. Get sick. Criticize or reprimand harshly. Put down by force or intimidation. Place a limit on the number of. Manage not to throw up. Put down by force or intimidation. The government quashes any attempt of an uprising. Declare invalid. Put down by force or intimidation. Suppress in order to conceal or hide. Repress a cry of fear. Put out of one's consciousness. Block the action of. The process of repressing gene transcription. Impede or hinder the natural development or self-expression of. Correct by punishment or discipline. Hold within limits and control. Subdue one's appetites. Get on top of. Deal with successfully. Make subordinate, dependent, or subservient. Bring under control by force or authority. Put down by force or intimidation. Make subservient. Force to submit or subdue. Put down by force or intimidation. The rich landowners subjugated the peasants working the land. Make smaller. Reduce proportionally. To remove oxygen from a compound, or cause to react with hydrogen or form a hydride, or to undergo an increase in the number of electrons.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.